All right, here we have an exponential equation that we'd like to solve. And in order to solve this one, what we're going to do is we're going to find the same base on each side and then set the exponents equal to each other. So I've got 2's here. So my question is 1 over 64 somehow related to 2? Well, let's see. 64 is 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. So this is really the same thing as 2 to the x squared times 2 to the 5x equals 1 over 2 to the 6th power. Now that we have this, we can use a property of exponents, which says that if we have the same base, we can add the exponents. So in other words, the left-hand side is just 2 to the x squared plus 5x. We'll use another property of exponents to turn this guy into 2 to a power. And that's the property that says that 1 over 2 to the 6th is the same thing as 2 to the negative 6th power. Well, now that we have the same base on both sides, all we need to do is set the exponents equal to each other. So we have x squared plus 5x equals minus 6. And we've now transformed our exponential equation into a quadratic equation. So how do we solve this guy? Well, the first thing that we want to do is we want to put everything to one side and set it equal to 0. Then we have a variety of methods that we can use to solve quadratics. So this becomes x squared plus 5x. Let's see, adding 6 to both sides, plus 6 equals 0. And now that we have this in the form of x squared plus 5x plus 6 equals 0, we can use the quadratic formula if we'd like. We can use the completing the square method. Or what I'm going to do is probably the quickest method in this case. I'm just going to factor it. So we need two numbers that multiply together to give us 6 and add together to give us 5. So what two numbers are those? Let's see. Those two numbers would be 3 and 2. So now we have the product of two things are equal to 0. So what does that tell us? That tells us that at least one of these guys has to be equal to 0. So in other words, x could be negative 3, setting this equal to 0. We get x equals negative 3. Or x could be negative 2. So to recap, we started with an exponential equation. And to solve it, our goal was to get both sides with the same base. And then we were going to set the exponents equal to each other. We used one property here, which I can write as 1 over x to the n is equal to x to the minus n. We used another property here, which says that x to the a times x to the b is equal to x to the a plus b. And then we found ourselves looking at a quadratic. And to solve the quadratic, I simply set it equal to 0 and factored it.